game to prepare for. I'm tired. Before we start, just want to thank you guys. Been a good year. You guys did a really good job. I appreciate you. All your questions thought out. Hopefully I can answer them better moving forward. But seriously, in all seriousness, I appreciate you guys. What do we got?
Do you have a favorite moment from this season?
No. Maybe sometime I'll reflect on it, but no, I really don't.
What was your biggest challenge in year one?
Learning everything new day by day, all the things that come across your desk and, being new with my role, first time I've ever done it. I don't think there was one biggest challenge. It's just the day-to-day of trying to do the best job that you can.
Off of that, how do you feel like you've grown into the role throughout the year?
Yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot, you know what I mean? And there's a lot more I got to learn. I got that detailed out already. But honestly, the people in the building helped me a lot, and the staff and everybody in place in that building, Michael, Monty, they really helped me a lot with a lot of things that we had to navigate this year. And when you got good people, you listen to them, get their opinions, and then you make a decision. But, I'm grateful for the people in the building.
Are the players out of the building entirely now?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many did you meet with individually, can I ask that?
A lot of them. Not everybody, but I'll touch base with everybody here, but pretty shortly within the next week. But talk to some guys that are up contractually, talk to the rookies, talk to some vets. So it was a really good group to be around this year.
Gigi, how would you evaluate your own performance throughout the season?
If I'm a pretty bottom line guy, so not good enough, truthfully, 4-13. But what we set out to do to get ourselves operating in a way that I think is fit to win football games week in and week out, I think we did that. And I think that the players, the message and the standard and things that we talked about and put it and hung our hat on, I think it got through, and they kind of carried that throughout the year. But a lot of improvement needs to be made.
You feel like you guys were able to identify several building block type players to move forward with?
Yeah, I think so. The roster will be different every year. You know what I mean? And there'll be a new team, and you kind of got to. I told them today, you got to start from scratch, and that's what we're going to do in the off season, and then when they get back in the building and then training camp, all that stuff. But I think we have a lot of guys that can play winning football and impact the game in a positive way.
When you evaluate this year, how does not having your starting quarterback for 9 games factor into all that?
Not really. It's kind of what Zach asked Josh. Is 4-13 is not good enough. We got to figure out ways to win more games next year, no matter who's playing, and that falls on me and the coaches.
You talk often about how you're constantly talking with Monty about the roster and about the players and everything. With that in mind, are there high-level meetings that have to happen about that stuff, or because you've been talking about it all the time, do you have a pretty good idea of how this is going to play out?
That's a good question, Darren. I would say anytime the boss talks to me is a high-level meeting. That's how I approach it. But, no, it's been fantastic working with Monty for this last year, and, that's why I was almost late. Coming down, I was talking with him just upstairs right now. But, we have a very specific vision of what we want to do. And that will be, that'll be flexible and adaptable too. But, I think those high-level meetings, the sit-down, drag-outs, close the door, stay up late, because we're in constant communication all the time, those are kind of fluid and they're pretty easy, honestly. And I'm looking forward to more of those.
Defensively, you had a lot of young players chip in and got their feet wet. And a lot of them got better as the season went along. Could you just talk about those young guys on defense and what they all were able to do?
Yeah, in general, those guys, it's just not the rookies, but some other guys too that are second, third, fourth year guys. I think just, adapting to the way that we wanted to play defense, improving on a daily basis, seeing that we do change from week to week a little bit. And then, with the motor and the violence that we talk about, and, they played a certain way that we wanted to play. That's important in my mind to win football games, and they took to that because it's a hard way to play, and it's a hard way to practice. A lot of guys don't want to do that. And our guys understood the value of it, and they did a good job with it.
After the game, Kyler had said it's refreshing to have a coach and a GM that not only he can trust, but talked about accountability, and that was a buzzword when you were hired. You have set that winning culture to have your franchise quarter talk about that in less than a calendar year, despite just 4 wins. Can that create any sort of success when you're looking at the season as a whole?
Yeah, I think it can. I mean, I didn't see what he said, but he knows, like, you're the franchise quarterback. He's a big-time leader of this team. And, I won't tell you all the conversations we have, but he knows he's the closest thing to me out there. So I want him to operate in a certain way, and he's went above my expectation for what that looks like. And I think he's only continued to get better, and we got to get better together, and he will.
Not just Kyler, but I guess in general, just the culture that was established this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's ever back here in 2024, they understand what's expected and how we operate. And if they're back here, I feel really comfortable. Myself and Monty and the coaching staff feels really comfortable about their roles, whatever they might be. But I always say, like, the price of admission is team and then you. And if they're back here in 24, they have that.
How was the personality dynamics between Kyler and Wolford this year?
Awesome. I think that's probably a better question for those guys. But I know how is coaches. It's why we hired them. I know the dynamic between the offensive coordinator, play caller, with the quarterback coach, with Kyler. There's a lot of layers to that, and then I inject myself into certain things, and that's another layer. And credit to everyone involved, but really to Kyler to adapt to how he was getting coached, to the information getting brought to him, the expectation for him, and he really responded to all of us, truthfully.
More details on DJ and when he'll have surgery?
I don't exactly know, Jody. Within the next month or two, he'll have surgery, and then he'll start the recovery process there. He's got to let the MCL heal before they go operate on the ACL. So that's kind of the time frame of that.
What word would you use to describe this year, this team?
Man, Zach, I don't know. Okay, somebody give me one. I'm lost for words on that one. Interesting. Worth watching. Fun. Hyphenated. A bunch of words. I would say competitive. This team loves to compete, and on a daily basis, not just on the practice field or the game field, but in meeting rooms, in the weight room, training room. I would say competitive.
When you take into consideration everything that you talked about with Kyler, learning new offense, new footwork, all that stuff, how impressive is it what he did from the game he got back to where he ended up playing at?
Very, I would say. If I wish we were playing another game next week, because I think it'd be better. You know what I mean? We just need a little time on task. That was my whole point to you guys about it's going to take a little time, and I know he kind of, poo-pooed on that after he lit it up against Atlanta. But I think that I really think sky's the limit. I think that he can hit another level. I know our team can. I know the offense can. I hate to say it, but he's in there working out today. It's like, dude, just like go home, man. Take a break. But you don't want to hear that. And he's on a little different process than the other guys coming off his injury. But with that guy playing quarterback for us, I know we can win every game.
You guys said that. What kind of feedback did you get from the players this year? What are some things that they told you about?
Appreciative. They had a good time, I think. They enjoyed the process. They enjoyed the standard, the accountability, the competition. I asked them, it's funny when you ask for criticism, I said, give me some critiques on me. You know, it's funny what you hear. And it just goes to show you always got to stay in contact with the players. You know what I mean? You never know what they're thinking. You know what they're thinking, but I got some really good feedback, and some other guys that they were kind of shocked that I asked that. I said, you know, when it hits your brain, when you're in the movie theater, when you're, you know, doing something, just shoot me a text. You know what I mean? Because that's how you learn. You know what I mean? And when it comes from a place of criticism, when it comes from a place of care and love and wanting to get better, it's very easy to take. So the guys that I'm asking that, I understand that their critique is coming from that type of place where they want to win football games. So we all have to improve.
You mentioned that you guys have a vision, Monty has a vision that you guys have going into this offseason. Do you feel like with that vision that you guys can make all the moves that you would like to make in this offseason to get it to where it needs to be, or is this going to be a longer process?
No, yeah, I think you're talking, the first thing I think you're talking about, Darren, is acquisition, right? Yeah, I think that Monty has done a fantastic job of the acquisition periods this last year in 2023, bringing in guys that we see fit to be Cardinals. And, you know, not to say you don't make mistakes, but we hit on a lot of those guys, and that's what we told the rookies too today, because there's going to be another group that's injected into this team that now they kind of have to show the way. You know, when a guy gets out of alignment, you got to bring him back into alignment. You know, but the rookie class, can't say enough about those guys. Some guys that we brought in, not just at draft time, but you know, in September or December, you know what I mean? Those guys hit the price of admission for those guys, his team, and then you. And I think that when you do that and continually add those pieces and the coaches improve and the players improve, you got a chance.
What did Monty do with 13 picks, including 2 first-rounders and a 4th overall?
Yeah, work your magic, brother.
What happened with Kevin Strong?
Yeah, just made the decision what's best for the team there.
JG, what are days like today like for you personally, knowing that you walk down to the locker room and the lockers are starting to empty out and it gets a little bit quieter?
Yeah, I mean, you've been in it long enough, you kind of know the calendar of the NFL season. Honestly, a little sad because you love what you do, and why I love this job the most is because of the players. You know, obviously I enjoy other parts of the job, which will started today, but you miss seeing the players, being around the players, talking to the players, watching them, you know, coaching them, you know, even that's coaching, you know, so, but we know they'll be back in the building pretty soon, and we got a lot of work to do before they get in the building, but that's probably what I would say.
Have you, or do you plan on making changes to your coaching staff?
Yeah, you know what, I probably don't compliment those guys enough. You know, you guys ask me about certain players and things like that, and it always, it always starts with coaching. You know what I mean? Those guys did a hell of a job this year, and a tough year, truthfully. You know, I've been in some you know, lean years, as I'd call them, where you only win a couple games here or there, and you see staffs start to have dissension, and the attitude changes, and you start pointing fingers and placing blame on things, and self-preservation mode, and now it's about me, not you, you know, all those things. And I thought the staff did a really good job of staying connected, keeping the guys positive, focused, improving the players. Honestly, in the seat that I'm in, I'm worried about losing guys because, you know, I'm not going to get into specifics, but there's a lot of, my phone's ringing a lot right now. And so I got to make sure that we keep the right pieces here.
Was there a specific game that you look back on as like, that's the Cardinals team that I want to see week in, week out?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, you know, results driven anytime we won. But no, I think that they week in and week out prepared the right way, practiced the right way, approached the week the right way. That's my vision of this moving forward. That's what I want it to look like.
Did you have to make any big tweaks to your process, or did it hold up with what you instilled early throughout?
With the players, Bo?
With players and just preparation?
Probably the biggest tweak that no one would even know that I made the tweak is just how I kind of structured my time, truthfully, throughout the week. And probably the coaches don't even know it, truthfully. Probably Drew does. But just as I sit in the chair that I'm in, like right now, it's like, how can I impact winning in 2024? Like, what can I do today that can impact winning, right? And as you go through the year, on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, so on and so forth, how can I impact the wins and losses right now? You know what I mean? And that you kind of adapt that through different weeks and different, as the year went on. So I'm very process driven. I have a routine, but I think that, and with the staff around me help me do this, but, I kind of change a little bit week to week, and not to say I do certain things every week at the same time on the same day, but I'm not afraid to adapt to what is going on in the building or what I feel that needs a little more attention or less attention. So I think that's one of the things, you learn the most is you can't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone for the betterment of the team. So that's an ongoing process. It always will be, but I feel like that's probably it.
The offense gained a lot of steam towards the second half of this down the stretch. Is there anything you want to see it get drastically better at? I mean, it did pick it up.
Oh, Bob, all three phases, I want everything to get drastically better, Yeah, I want the offense to get drastically better, yeah. And I'm pleased with where they're at. But, yeah, I want to be able to do things at a higher level, everything that we're doing. Situationally, we got to do better at. That falls on me. I mean, mixed downs, pass downs, all that stuff, operation, use of personnel packages, everything. So, I mean, we'll take a critical eye at everything. And I say, the players like, oh, it'll be so much better, this year with some continuity, right? And I kind of fool them. I'm like, well, I'm tearing the whole thing down, and there's a little bit of truth to that, meaning this, we start over from scratch. So we're teaching this, let's see what we're teaching. Are we coaching it the right way? All that stuff. So yes, there'll be a lot of carryover from all three phases and from your specific question, the offense, but we're going to make sure we're doing the right things. And we take a look at that every year. And so there'll be some changes, and there'll be some, but from an improvement standpoint, I want to improve on everything because that's what we need to do to win games.
That's just put in a different situations and kind of see how they respond a little bit.
No, it's honestly my truth. So I tell them the truth, That's what I'm going to do. We did it at 6 a.m. this morning. I'm tearing it all down, guys. We're starting over from scratch. So I don't know if the coordinators were too pleased.
They have Kyler under center 30 times, right, in the finale, and to rush for over 200 yards 3 last 4 games. Is that what you envision?
Yeah, you guys keep asking about it. Yeah, I think in today's day and age, you want to put pressure on the defense, and you have to do that with the skill set of your people. Okay, now with saying that, when you can have different offenses that are really the same, i.e. under center or in the gun, I think that's very valuable to stress out a defense. And especially when you have the trigger guy that we have that can do those things. So you have all kinds of different play types from under center. You got all different kinds of play types from gun. And I would say this too, like, with some of the things that he's capable of seeing the defense do under center, the look that gives to the defense gives him an advantage, gives us an advantage. So that'll be a part of who we are moving forward, but we're going to look at all of that stuff and make sure that he's comfortable with it. But, if there's a game that I think we should play an empty and gun the entire game to win the game, that's what we're going to do. If there's a game that we need to get under center and run it 35 times, that's what we're going to do. And our players understand that. The staff understands that. And the coaches, myself, and then the coaches, we've got to do a better job of setting that up, what that looks like. But, as long as Kyler's the quarterback, we're going to stress out the defense because of his skill set, and that's on us coaches to put him in position to do that.
How do you handle someone like Hollywood Brown? Wants a long-term extension, didn't get it. injuries, a lot of injuries this year, might affect his free agency. How do you?
Yeah, I had a great talk with Hollywood. Obviously, want him back. And I know there's an economic side to the NFL too, and he knows that as well. But I know that he can be a premier player for us, and I'm excited about what the future holds for him.
In your eyes, where did you see Nick and Drew evolve the most this year?
I don't know if it's evolving. I thought they both called heck of a games yesterday, really. But I would say in their chair for the first time, having sat in that chair, obviously not the offense coordinator, but the defensive coordinator for 2 years. I'm looking for the right word. I know what I want to say, but I'm looking for the right thing to say is their competitive stamina. And what I mean by that, it is hard the way that I want to play. It's hard week in and week out to do that. I found it challenging for myself, and every week they took a shot at it, you know what I mean, and were creative and took a critical eye at everything and what I asked them to do when they put together the plans, and the staff's involved in that. But those guys are, obviously running the show. And to have the type of competitive stamina that they did to do that, to give ourselves a chance to win, I was honestly in a little bit of awe. That they didn't run out of gas. And I look forward to them guys, getting better in their roles and helping us win games.
Your watch is set 5 minutes fast. Have you always?
How do you know that? Did you see it?
Has it always been like that? Is it?
Yeah, the wife hates it. Because at home it's the same thing. Kids are like, Dad, we got to leave. I'm like, nah, we're all right. We got a couple more minutes. They don't know. But, I have one of my pet peeves is not being on time. You guys know that. I call you guys out. I call myself out on it. But because you're putting yourself ahead of the team if you do that.
What was your, piece of advice or message to the rookies entering the offseason?
Yeah, Monty and I talked to him together. Monty had a great message for him that obviously, we kind of soundboarded off each other. They're not to say this is a wise man avoids all extremes, okay? So not to say this is everybody, but in our experience, a lot of guys make a huge jump from year 1 to year 2, and that jump sets them up for really what their role is going to be with that team or even with another team. So they checked the box of price of admission, and every one of them had a different role. And some of their roles ascended, some of their roles decreased a little bit. Some of them, grew into some different roles. We got kind of basically, when you look at that rookie class, all ends of the spectrum, but their job moving forward is to take that jump. Football playing wise is, hey, make sure that you have the role that you have right now and then go above and beyond that role. Whatever that looks like, right? And then also a piece to that is you are no longer rookies. You're responsible in your own way to, when these new guys come in, to show them how we do things. Because I can say it till I'm blue in the face, but when Paris, they know exactly what I'm talking about because they watch Paris, that matters. And so they're going to assimilate that role too. But very pleased with how they've come along, and you guys know too now, like, they really need a break. Kyler's in there working out. Like, if Mike was, I'd probably fire him. Like, well, you've got to think now. You went through date back to last fall camp for those guys. Fall camp, their college season, bowl game, combine prep, combine, pro day prep, get drafted, come as a free agent, whatever, week off, training, mini camp, OTAs, a little bit of time off, which we keep them so they don't get any time off. You got training camp, three preseason games, 17-game season. Like, if you look at that over a count, not just like, oh, we played Washington first and then you got done with the season, right? 17 games. Look at it from all the way moving back. Like, those guys need a break. They need a break because they've been going at it. So, but yeah, I think they'll reset and come back, and just what we just talked about, that's what our guys will do.
Monty was around a lot. Every day he was at practice.
Damn right.
Did you anticipate that when you guys first started
100%.
working?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what we believe in is the right thing to do for the team. Yeah, those guys like seeing the boss around. You know what I mean? And Michael's around. He's at practice. Monty's around at practice. He talks to those guys every day. And he watches practice, watches how guys are. If he has a question or an issue or a compliment, he says it. And I think that's super important for him to do that. He's obviously the main leader, Michael, Monty. The players look to those guys. So, yeah, just the support that he had. And he's a ball junkie, so he wants to be out there and watch practice, you know. But I know the players appreciate that because they've told me that. He can't throw. I can throw.
You guys talked about it, Bob asked about the D-line, but what do you have to do with the D-line, Monty? I mean, what you all had to do with the D-line, but was that unique in what you've seen through the years? Have you ever been around a situation where you just had that many bodies?
I haven't, Jody, truthfully. I haven't, but it's a credit to D, you know what I mean? And, you know, get guys ready and play different spots. And, I mean, that room fluctuated a lot. Typically, you don't like for it to fluctuate that much, you know? But that's the NFL. Sometimes that's how years, you know, spit out kind of. And I think that, you know, I'm just really pleased with those guys of stepping up to the plate, battling, playing injured, you know, playing through some injuries, different guys and playing different spots and different roles and all that. But they're team first guys and they want to win. But I was pleased with those guys.
Do you think the cycle has a spot on the field regular season next year?
Yeah. Yeah, I think his role can increase. I really do. From where he was at when we got here at OTAs to where he's at now, a completely different football player in my mind. That's a credit to him, wanting to get better every day.
You mentioned Harris. He said he'll be training right and left tackle this offseason. How equipped is he to play left if needed?
He can do it all. We'll do what's best for the team.
We'd like to see Trey kind of blossom into
Awesome. Yeah, just my first year around him, but just second year, you know, and I mean, he was one that came in. I'm working on this, and this. So just slow down. I'm going to tell you what to work on. But, yeah, I mean, just the like all of our guys, just his attitude and willingness to get better, and his competitiveness to get better, and you know, I call him the sheriff now. You know, there's kind of a new sheriff in town, but he needs to step up and be a premier playmaker and player for us, which he did. And that's another one that I don't think that he's touched his level. I really haven't. At times he has. I think that he can take his game to another level.
Coach, thank you.
All right. See you when I see you.
You got tea time yet?
Huh? No tea times. No tea times. Go look at that turn down. See you later.